Hey, what's up, all you dinkles and peoples? This is the Respawn Aim Fire podcast, the kick-ass irreverent podcast brought to you by Affable Idiots. I am one of your New Year's hosts, Chad Michael. Gonna make some guesses that are gonna knock your garters off. Innes. We have with us our normal co-host, Adam. Gonna make some guesses that might knock your puka shell necklace off. Gumbert, how are you?
Shark tooth necklaces only in these parts. By the way, there's a secret box on the screen. What is it? What is it? God damn it, open, you bitch. It's
I don't
bourbon
know if it's
balls.
visible in your cropped.
Whoa.
Make sure you get it next to your face.
It's bourbon balls, everybody.
Bourbon balls.
That's a Kentucky staple. They're little chocolate confections. They've got a lot of bourbon in them. Enjoy. I'm going to enjoy. You can't.
Nice. And joining us, running OBS on the fly because my computer is a burpy bitch, is Alex. Gonna make some guesses that are gonna knock your belly button rings off. Cozina, how are you, Alex?
I'm doing well, Chad. I'm really glad that you brought up the whole me running this podcast and OBS at the last minute because, yeah, Chad's podcast was just like, yeah, I'm sorry, but it's just one of those days where I just got to turn into a big old bubble butt and just explode right into the air. And so I'm running this on the fly, going pretty well, thankfully, because I had everything like mostly set up ahead of time. But if for whatever reason Chad and Adam's video cam web feeds turn into black voids of infinite blackness for brief moments, that is not on me. That is just the predicament of it all of us having to make some last minute adjustments. But hey, other than that, I am doing good. I really hope that I don't make any Redfall level bungles this year around.
Please do. That was so fun last year when you did that. But you don't know. That's predictions, you know? Chad's frozen. The worst face I've ever seen in my life.
I'm not frozen. That's called acting. All right, everyone. You can watch us here on twitch.tv/Affable Idiots live on Sunday evenings, usually around 8:30-ish Eastern time. And if you hate doing that, if you hate interacting with us in the chat, if you think our voices need 2 days worth of post-processing work, then you can catch that on demand Tuesday mornings at YouTube and podcast services at 9 a.m. Eastern time as well. We've got a fun bunch of guesses coming up today. We got some cool gamey games. What have we been playing today? We got a surprise segment from Cozy coming up, and we're gonna fucking marry and kill some games. All of those things are coming after I asked Cozy, what is this thing about your cooking channel that you wanted to talk about? Because let's plug that in.
After much waiting, I am proud to announce that you'll need to wait a little bit longer, but not that much longer, to enjoy Cozy Bear's Cooking Season 4, which will debut on Wednesday, January 24th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Similar to the previous season of Cozy Bear's Cooking, which was Season 3, which we did back in 2022, Season 4 will consist of a limited run of just 8 episodes. This isn't going to be a thing where I'm going to do it on a continuous basis multiple times a week until I grow tired of it. I'm just going to do 8 episodes, but they are going to be incredibly well produced, and they will stream live every Wednesday on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive, KOZIBEARLIVE, at 8:30 p.m. EST, following the debut of the first episode on the 24th. Not ready right now to share all the details, dishes, and fancy schmancy OBS graphics that will be featured on this season just yet, but you should pay attention to my Twitter timeline at Alex Gazina if you're anxious to get a preview of the upcoming festivities. And also, if you've not done so yet, you should check out my previous season of Cozy Bear's Cooking, which by the time that this episode will be on podcast services, will have been completely uploaded now to my YouTube channel. Previously, all the VODs were only on Twitch, and I kind of felt like it's time to get some more eyes on these because these were a bunch of fun episodes to do. So recently uploaded to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@CozyBear, KOZIBEAR 7231. Not youtube.com/CozyBear, which is an account that was taken over by a child 16 years ago that now permanently is sitting on that handle and I can't have it. So yeah,
it's also not a good channel. I mean, your
Yeah,
channel
not
is
a good
fantastic.
channel.
Cozy
Yeah.
Bear, not a good channel. Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to that. But right now, there are a lot of other things that we need to talk about that we're looking forward to, including big games for 24 coming from Ryan Dinsdale over at IGN. PlayStation has listed the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, officially titled Metal Gear Solid Triangle Icon, which stands for Delta, Snake Eater, as a 2024 game. There's a trailer advertising various PlayStation 5 games coming in 2024, and it includes lots of entries with established release dates, like The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, but also sneakily puts a little release window in there for the highly anticipated remake starring everyone's favorite Adam game, Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid 3. Not stopping there,
Love
the
it.
PlayStation trailer also listed Silent Hill 2 Remake as a 2024 release, seemingly dropping 2 major release windows in the space of 2 minutes. Did y'all think this was coming this early? Delta?
Yeah, it's a little surprising, but also like there's not a lot coming this year, so it's like of course there has to be something that's on the way.
Don't believe it. Watch me like, oh, well, we tried, and then, Jeremy had a bad sandwich, and it pushed the game back 3 months, so we're going to come out in 2025. Like, I don't believe it.
Adam, what if it's amazing? What if Metal Gear Solid Delta comes out and everyone's like, wow, like there have been fantastic remakes in the past, but this one raises it to a whole new level. The story, the cinematics, the lighting actually reflects to the way that the games originally looked, but it's all updated to be new and modern. You have full screen support, wide scale support, all sorts of made up things that I'm just making up on the fly because my brain's running on fumes.
That must be a PC thing.
Just making up all sorts of new resolutions we didn't even think possible. And everyone's like, man, Adam, you're really missing out by tutting your head up at these Metal Gear Solid 3 games.
I mean, they can be wrong. Like, here's the thing. I've played that game. There's nothing you guys are going to do to make me like it. Now, here's the thing. I did lose. So I played in a fantasy football league with Tim New Museum, as Chad famously named that man.
Right.
And as part of my punishment for doing worse than him, I have to play Metal Gear Solid 3 on stream for him, for his amusement, because he knows I don't like it. So if this actually comes out this year, I'll do the remaster instead of playing the old one. So I might actually play this game this year, depending on how schedules and stuff go. See, that's a punishment. That's how much I dislike the game, is that it's a punishment for me.
Yeah, or you just like somehow Atomed your way into a quote unquote punishment with something that you're actually going to enjoy.
You guys can go back and listen to that Barf episode to tell you how much I love Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
This doesn't surprise me as much because one, we already know that they've been experimenting with, high fidelity graphics for Metal Gear Solid 3 as early as whenever they released those pachinko machines, which were, I don't know, early 20 teens, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And Konami has not really been doing anything since Metal Gear Solid 5, aside from announcing like 7 Silent Hill games last year. They haven't really done anything that I can think of, aside from that zombie Metal Gear game. But, so yeah, I feel like it's about time, if they have been working on something the last 5-ish, how many ever years that is, then yeah, it's about time that we see it this year. And rumors also say that after that one, I can't remember who rumored this, but there's a rumor out there that after Metal Gear Solid 3, it is all hands on deck for a Metal Gear 1 remake as soon as 3 ships.
That'd be nice to have a full remake of that.
Yeah.
Like a remake, not a remaster like this one, like a full everything. Let's make it modern. That would be nice.
Delta is a remake, isn't it? Or is it a remaster?
It's a remake, but it's like, from my limited knowledge, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, that's that same factory where fucking Ocelot pops up and acts like an idiot.
The problem is that based on what information has been presented so far on the game, it seems like they're being very selective in terms of what they are updating. You would assume that like Snake's movement mechanics, the game's stealth mechanics will be much updated over what they were in that game. But for example, the voice acting is not being changed at all. They're not going back and re-recording new lines with David Hayter or any of the rest of that cast. And so it's this weird thing where it's like, you got some content that's supposedly going to be very much updated and modernized for, the modern day, and then other content that's weirdly being kept as is. for reasons that might be because they want to preserve the artistic integrity, or might be because Konami is very chintzy when it comes to giving its studios a budget to work with. Who's to say?
Hey, Snake, have you ever seen Godzilla? It's a really cool movie. Fucking awful video game.
I hope all those original voice actors got paid by the word, because if so, they made a fuck ton of money. Cool. Well, we'll see later in 2024 as Konami's offerings start to drip drop out the old pipeline. Whether or not this rumor comes true. In the meantime, let's move on to playtime, where we talk about what we played over the last, I guess this makes up for several weeks, right? Because we haven't done a proper episode of the podcast in a while. So we're going to talk about playtime. 3, 4, as Adam's fingers are indicating to me.
It's 3 or 4. I think it was like December 12th or something. It's been a while.
So I'm really interested. I see the void under Adams where there's nothing next to a bullet. So I'm going to come back to that.
I just realized I never
Alex.
Actually updated mine.
Okay.
Now,
well,
one of the entries
Adam,
that was
then.
one of the entries that was in my list is actually still relevant to today, but I do have one new game that I'm going to add in right now. But you'll still start.
We're going to go
Adam,
straight to no. We're going to go to the Alex. We're going to start.
Okay.
First plan, second verse, same as the first. Alex.
Yeah, so I've only really been playing 2 games over the past week. I've been playing a little bit more of Super Mario RPG because I was with my father and my sister in our cottage cabin. I was like, what's that word again? That word for a house that you have out in the country? Oh, yeah, a cottage, or also a cabin. I was at the cottage, and I was like, you know what? I'll take my Switch along, play Super Mario RPG on it. That game is still fun, but like I said on previous weeks, I do wish I was playing one of the more up-to-date and modern Mario RPGs. Game just feels a little archaic in spots, but still fine. The other game I've been playing a little bit of is Stray Gods. This is the like music-based, like choice-based, like visual novel game that came out back in 2023. Didn't get amazing reviews. I feel like the general impression of it was kind of like, but I was intrigued by it and had been meaning to check it out in 2023, and it very much was a case of like, I would have checked it out then, but I felt like there were more pressing games that I wanted to get to. Games like Hi-Fi Rush, where I'm like, I want to play one of these games because, you know, they were critically lauded and I want to be able to speak about them when it comes to, you know, the end of the year. And so, yeah, put it off playing it until just now, and it is good. I don't have like particularly like absolutely glowing things to say about it. It is exactly what is advertised on the package. It is a game about gods that are entwined in a murder mystery that fight with each other by singing songs, and you make narrative choices, both in terms of where it is that you want to go next, what you want to do, and what it is that you want to sing in the middle of these songs to advance the plot. It doesn't seem like there's really any kind of fail state. It kind of seems like you can kind of just keep going whatever choices you make, and you'll arrive at some sort of ending no matter what you do, and won't just be killed off prematurely. And it all makes for a very decent package, and I am motivated to see more of it, but I'm not sitting here being like, oh my god, I wish I had played this last year, because I would have been chomping at the bit being like, guys, this is one of the best games of the year. It's good. Not amazing,
Can you
but it's
explain something to me? The tagline for this is Stray Gods, the role-playing musical.
Yeah.
And I see that everywhere. Can you explain, I know you said like in the middle of a song, like you choose what you want to sing. What does gameplay of this look like? Are you choosing like just a lyric that you decide to put there? Is there any kind of like...
It's less so a lyric and more
thing?
like the direction that you want to take the song. So you'll be on stage, like competing with this other god. And you'll be like, either I can start singing lyrics that directly go against what she's singing, I can try to rouse up the crowd and get the crowd on my side, or I can maybe do a duet with this other god that's over to the side that said that he would help me. It's kind of like very like broad strokes like that. They say role-playing game, but like the game is not quite that granular.
Gotcha. Cool. Is that it? Are those just those two games?
That's it.
I had a question for Alex.
Yes.
First question. Should I play Stray Gods? You're like, it's fine, but like, is it fine for certain people or is it fine for everybody?
Let me.
This game is rated fine for everyone.
Yeah.
Well,
This game is rated fine for Jewish people.
are you dying to jump into the game immediately, or can you wait like another week or so for me to beat it and give my final recommendation?
I'll let you wait. The only thing that
Okay.
interests me is the talent in the game, because again, it's got all of the video game voice actors in it. But
Yeah.
I'd rather wait for you to finish it before I actually, because it seems
Yeah.
interesting. But I don't know. Second thing, since you're running OBS, this is only for video watchers. You're running OBS, right? So the backgrounds are you.
Yeah.
Okay. I just like how you had a couple weeks on Twitter. It was circulating again. You had the background of the girl from Detroit Become Human, like when she looks at the camera, the android girl. And there's just that clip of those like two people who are like, the game's really not about race. Yeah, I mean, like there's like things to it. It's not about race. And then she's like, the Underground Railroad was it, and it's like, and it's just everyone reacting to that, and it's like the funniest clip in the world. So I saw her face and immediately had a flashback.
I want to say, for the record, the video slideshow that's playing in the background is something that was already pre-included in the scene selection that Chad gave me, and I was just like, it would take a while for me to come up with a new one, so I'll just use one right
great.
now.
Okay, if anyone
We
thinks
do
I'm
not-
sold, throw it my way.
No, it's just saw her face, and it's very funny where people try to say Detroit wasn't someone trying to make a very bad representation of civil rights movement, and then she was like, "Here's the thing about black people."
We do not endorse. We do
Civil
not
rights?
endorse the opinions or likenesses of the people in Detroit Become Humans or the man that made it,
It's just
Mr.
very-
Detroit Become Human.
It's a very funny clip. Anyways, go ahead, Chad. I interrupted you because of that hilarious clip about civil rights.
My request is for you to tell me what you played in the last 3 to 4 ish
Nothing.
weeks.
No, so what I did is, so whenever we go up to Game of the Year, that's where I try to get a lot of my playing in, right? Like I beat Alan Wake like 3 or 4 days before we recorded it. Alan Wake. So I played a lot of stuff then, and then once we finish Game of the Year, I don't touch basically anything. So I haven't really played anything at all. I just watch TV and shit. I chill.
Nice.
Because I overdo it. Like I just do
Yeah.
a lot of it, and then I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do any of it. So I mean, I'm on the last boss of Baldur's Gate 3, but I just don't, want to go through that yet again. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I played as a Hitman Freelancer. That was fun. But that I really don't play anything. I chill.
Are you excited for Marvel's Echo releasing on Tuesday on Disney Plus?
I mean, I'll watch it, I guess. I liked What If. What If was fun.
Yeah.
Echo, we'll see. It'll be fun to see them kill people. There you go.
Yeah. Cool.
That's it. Though.
Mine's going to be a little bit of a longer segment than both of those. I have on here D2. Can
The
you
Mighty
guess what
Ducks.
D2 means? It's Destiny 2. That's right. I played Destiny 2 a bunch. And I'm going to use this actually as a way to also talk about PSP on there, which is PlayStation Portal. I did an experiment with science where I was at my parents' house in North Carolina for 3 full weeks, Friday to Friday to Friday to Friday. That's 3. Yeah, 3 weeks. And I brought with me only my Nintendo Switch, which my sister then stole and took away for 2 weeks. And then I had my PlayStation Portal. That was my only other system of gaming. Well, no, I had my Analog Pocket too, but I played only a little bit. I played probably 40 to 45 hours of content on my PlayStation Portal, being 2,700 miles away from it, which is, I assume, 76,000 kilometers away from it. And it was incredible. It was incredible. It was such an amazing experience. Latency was never, literally never an issue for me. I was able to do all of the hardest content in Destiny 2. We ran Grandmaster Nightfall. We did multiple raids. I was doing Iron Banner competitive PvP stuff on it, and I never felt like I was at a disadvantage from when I was doing my regular controller here, being a few feet from the PlayStation itself. So yeah, I was really, really surprised at how flawlessly that went. There were, of the, again, 40, 45-ish, 50, something like that, hours that I played on it. There were 2 times when I just lost connection to my PS5, and then I just had to reconnect, and it took 30 seconds, but that happened to be in the middle of a Grandmaster Nightfall strike or something like that. But it didn't actually seem to matter to us too much. We made it through. Don't worry. Of course, we're freaking professionals.
You
So
mean
yeah,
you
there
got
were just a
carried?
couple of times when that happened. One of them actually was my fault because it told me battery level critical, and then like I went and plugged it into the USB-C port, and then I didn't put the other end of the USB-C cord into the power. So that was one issue. But no, yeah, I was really really impressed with the PSP, the PlayStation Portal. The thing that I was not impressed with is the audio on it. As we all know, it does not work with Bluetooth headphones, which is booty and a half shell. So
Turtle
I had
power.
two options. I had pre-ordered and then had delivered to my parents' house the PlayStation Pulse wireless Elite earbuds, the basically the earbuds that have the PlayStation Link device on them and things like that. And those were huge disappointment. They were uncomfortable as fuck.
Are those bitches like $200?
They are $200.
Oof.
They're super uncomfortable. I had connection issues with them pretty regularly, where they would, disconnect one and then the other one would connect, or I would have one in at a time and then they would just like bloop, drop off for a second and then come back on, or they would just turn off and then I have to like hit the connection button on both of them. There's the link button on the PSP and then the link button on the earbud. So like connection wise and comfort wise, I was not into these things. They do have pretty good battery life, I guess. They were like 5 hours of battery life. But what was really upsetting to me was, aside from comfort, obviously I don't want to wear these things a ton, was that they, for $200, were lacking a lot of really important, I feel like, standard features nowadays for earbuds. Like there's no noise cancellation on them. I confuse noise rejection with noise cancellation. So like I kind of was like, oh, where's the noise? No, it just rejects other noise for the microphone. So people don't hear, you taking a dookie on the toy while you're playing the game, which I did. I did poop and play this game at the same time.
According to you, that you never do that. You're just in the bathroom.
Yeah. Well, I usually am in the bathroom and then I come back out to play the game. But now that the game is in my hands, I can poop and play at the same time.
Gotcha.
You know how there's regular play, there's cross play, and then there's poop and play.
The three pillars.
Yeah. So there's no noise cancellation, and there's also no audio pass through. So like, it's been so long since I've worn a pair of headphones that don't have any kind of pass through. So it's like that whole like I sound like I'm underwater kind of thing. When I talk out loud whenever I'm chatting on games. But I think what also was shitty about it is like there were many times where I was just I'm gonna lay on the couch and play this thing while my parents are watching some home renovation show on the TV, and my nieces and nephews are running around the house doing things. And the shitty thing is I can't block out the noise enough to make it not, distracting, but also I can't hear well enough to know when they're talking to me. So it's like the worst of both worlds, which means for $200, I would never use them over my AirPods, which I use already for my phone and basically everything else in the world. Therefore, I would have spent $200 on a pair of headphones that I would only use when using my PlayStation Portal, which were uncomfortable to begin with. So I was like, no, return those shit to Best Buy immediately. So I did, returned them.
I was about to say, if you didn't get returned those bitches, I would be heated.
No, I did, yeah. And in exchange, what I ended up using were my 8-year-old wired Apple earpods with 3.5mm jack.
Perfect.
That came with like the iPhone 5 before we switched over to the Lightning port for all the phones. So yeah, I happen to have that in my Switch case, which my sister had in Durham for 2 weeks. So I had to keep those gross ass PlayStation Link buds in my ears for a couple weeks until she came back with my earpods. But then yeah, that's what I'm using now. And I've tried 2 different types of Bluetooth transmitters to try to get like, let me plug that in, like people used to do with the Switch. But
I got a question
been really
for you.
successful with that so far.
Because I know the only other headset that's going to work with it are going to be the new Pulse headsets. Are you going to buy a new Pulse headset just to use with your PSP?
I am going to buy the new Pulse headset to use with my PlayStation. Well, to try it out, to see if it's worth even upgrading. Because, Best Buy has that, doesn't matter, open box. You take it out, you poop on it. It doesn't
It's
matter.
got poop particles on it. Yeah, they'll take it back. I don't care.
So yeah, I think it's like 2 weeks or something like that. So yes, I'm definitely going to get those to try it. It's too much. There is no way that I'm going to take those traveling just to be able to, like, I'm not going to bring that on a plane. They're so big to be able to bring on a plane or something like that. So I'm going to get them to maybe use with my PlayStation. Although now that I know they're not noise canceling anyway, who the hell knows? And to be honest, even the microphone, like the microphone dangling down on those old ass earpods versus the microphone in the earbuds, the Sony earbuds, was not a huge difference either. So yeah, shitty situation with audio, but other than that, PSP, highly recommend, very good. And I'm now using it, every night before bed. I'm playing a little bit of F2S, which is Final Fantasy VII, the regular one. F2, Final Fantasy, 2Fs. I wanted to throw you off. I didn't want you to know.
It should be F
SS7.
squared.
Well, I couldn't do the superscript 2 in this without having to Google how to do a superscript on the Google Doc.
Gotcha.
So I just wrote F2S. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII. I am playing this. It is one of those things, like, I feel weird playing JRPGs on a TV. Weirdly enough, like, it's just like, this feels like, you're at a movie theater to watch a 160p YouTube video of a can. It's wrong.
Quick question for that.
Wrong. Yeah.
By the way, I'll ask Alex this, interrupting that point. This is not the first time I've heard this. I don't remember. It was somebody else that I talked to on a secret Discord or on Twitter or something. They were like, JRPGs for me are handheld. And Chad is saying the same thing. Alex, is that a thing for you? Are JRPGs handheld for you?
No, I would say that I've played an equal number of JRPGs on handhelds and on consoles. I don't view them particularly as being tied to one platform or the other.
Yeah, Chad is not the only person I've heard say that they antiquate it to handheld. I just thought that was funny that you also said that right now. So
it's probably, I guess, when I first got into JRPG, like the very first one that like sold me on JRPGs was Dragon Warrior 3 on the Game Boy Color. So like I got into them on Game Boy. We played a few, my brother and I, on a PC with an emulator as a kid, and then from there, it was all on my PS Vita, my PSP and my PS Vita, because you get the PS1 classics. So yeah, it's a handheld thing. So I'll lay on the couch, put The Office on the TV, or put some YouTube video on the TV that I don't really care about, play some Final Fantasy VII, or, every night before bed now, it's to play like an hour and a half of Final Fantasy VII on my Portal as we just kind of wind down in the bedroom. And it is weird. It's weird to be playing this. It's a remaster, of course. I'm sorry. I'm playing the Final Fantasy VII remastered version of the original game, not the remake. And so it's the Steam version, and it's like, it's weird to see these really high resolution, crisp, not high fidelity, but high resolution, crisp, 3D Lego blocky looking models of things on top of the rendered backgrounds, which they didn't touch up or anything like that. So they are just like muddy, blurry backgrounds that would look beautiful on a CRT TV, I'm sure, but then in an HD remake, it is just like, it looks gross, and then you see these giant out-of-place things walking around it, and you can hardly tell what anything is on the screen anyway.
What's funny about that is that actually reminds me a lot of how when Final Fantasy VII Remake first released on the PlayStation 4, one of the issues with that game is a lot of the pre-rendered backgrounds in that game looked a little bit on the muddy side, especially like, for example, that one chapter where you're climbing up the plate after it collapses and you look out into the Vista and you realize, this looks a little bit less than great. They eventually fixed that in the PlayStation 5 version. That was like one of the big things that they fixed for that. But it is funny how like time is like repeating itself in that way.
Do you remember that door in the Sector 7 area where like you're spending it's early on in the game and like you're going in like your room where you're staying the night, and that door, the texture on it was like a PS1 texture. And you can get up close and it looks so gross. And they patched that out after a couple of weeks. But anyway, so yeah, playing it, performance-wise, obviously, it's a PS1 game. Looks weird in HD. But there's some couple of cool things. In the remaster, there's the built-in, you click the left thumbstick and the game goes at 3x speed, which is super helpful if, I played this game as a kid, but also I don't want to have to like slog through this thing again. Click the right thumbstick and it turns on God mode, which means your HP, your MP, and your limit are like maxed out all the time. and then you click both thumbsticks and it turns off random encounters, which I haven't done yet because I'm trying to still like grind my way up to level 99 for a trophy, because none of those things affect trophies. So I can still get the platinum trophy using all of those things, which is awesome.
Are you trying to beat the game before the release of Rebirth? Is that the current
I'm trying
plan?
to beat this game and Crisis Core remastered before Rebirth, and maybe a speed run on easy mode of Remake.
Okay.
It is. So speaking of, it has been a long time since I have played this game fully, and probably like 15 years maybe. And so when I played Remake, there were several characters in this game that were like big deals, and I was like, I don't remember you at all. And now playing this remastered version, I'm like, oh, it's because in the original game you had 2 lines, and that's it. And speaking of, I've played the entirety of Remake in the first 3 hours of this game, which like blows. There is so much more out there that Rebirth and the third installment of this thing could tackle. So yeah, I've just left Midgar, and I am exploring all sorts of fun things out in the world after 3 hours. Granted, on 3x mode with God mode enabled, but still, there's a lot to explore. I'm also really interested in the fact that like there's so much different so far. Not so much different. A lot of it's very familiar. There are a couple of things that were put out of order in the remake versus the original game, and then there's I didn't realize this until I was playing this again. I was like, oh fuck, there is so much backstory for Sephiroth and Cloud, and like major twists that happen basically immediately after 7 Remake ends. Then I'm like, oh shit, we are just, at that first game, Rebirth, the first, I'm sure, couple of hours of that game are going to be freaking banger with all sorts of story and reveals and that kind of stuff too. So I'm excited. My final thing on here, I have D2 written. Can you guess what D2 is? Bet you can't.
D2 The Mighty Ducks.
Nope.
Something squared.
It is Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh.
Very good.
From Larian Studios. My niece texted me. She got a PC. Her and her younger brother got a bunch of parts of a PC for Christmas, and then they put it all together, and now they are PC gaming elitists. So she's 12. My nephew's 9, and they were like, we were trying to find games with like magic and monsters and shit. And so first they texted me and they're like, have you ever played this game? We just found it. It's called RuneScape. And I was like, oh, RuneScape is old as shit.
Well, another one of my secret Discord friends plays a lot of RuneScape, actually.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'll download it because it's you, and I'll play it with you. And then after I downloaded it, she was like, oh, actually, we just played this game called Divinity, or we just found this game, Divinity Original Sin 2, and Dad says we can play it. And I was like, okay, that's much better. I'll do that. And I have so many things to complain about. So many things. The game itself, we're having a great time. Having a great time going around, accidentally killing a lot of people that we didn't intend to kill, making weird choices, recruiting people to our team who are cool, and then turn out you're not as cool as we thought you were. Having a great old time with it. But it took us an hour and a half to figure out how to fucking crossplay together. Because this game, first of all, Larian Studios has released this game on all major platforms. PC, Mac, iPad, Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox. You can cross-play between PC and Mac, Steam, between PC and iPad, or between iPad and Mac, not Steam. You can cross-save between those platforms and Nintendo Switch, but you can't cross-play with Nintendo Switch. And then I learned after we had gotten through a couple hours of playing this thing that it doesn't fucking matter what cross-save is, because only one person retains all of the data of your entire journey together. Because we were playing a journey, I guess it's similar to D&D, where it's like, of course, there's a dungeon master, and that person has the whole world saved on their thing and all the characters, and you guys just show up and play that game. But I was thinking, like Diablo style, where, oh yeah, I'll create this really cool dragon character, and we'll go in and we'll do some shit, and then you all go play some things on your own, I'll go play some things on my own, and then we'll come back up and see where we are. No, that's not an option. I can't do shit in this game until they decide they want to play again, which is like, Anyway, and then, of course, you couldn't cross-play between PC, Steam, and iPad unless you use this method called direct link, where you have to like type in the server number of the PC player's thing. And of course, on PC, you cannot, in order to get the direct server link, you have to hover your mouse over a certain thing and then it shows up, which you can't do if you're playing on controller. And they are both playing on the PC split screen, which means you can only use controller. And so that was a big old piece of shit. And it took us forever to and Larian doesn't write this stuff down anywhere. We had to like search a bunch of forums on Reddit and shit like that. And so finally I just said, fuck it. I bought the Steam version on my Mac and said, let's play here too.
I mean, it sounds to me like you should have just watched D2, The Mighty Ducks.
I would have had a better time. Well, I could have watched, in the time it took us to finally get a fucking game started and playing together, I could have watched the entirety of D2, Mighty Ducks.
Starring Emilio Estevez, correct?
Starring Emilio Estevez, yes. And I was like, Emilio! So, all that to say, PC gaming sucks. Just fucking let me play with friends.
It sucks, but your 9-year-old nieces and nephews can figure out how to do it. Gotcha.
They couldn't figure out, which is why it took so long. And I was like, I'm on my iPad, I'm ready to go. And they're like, I don't know how to do this.
They're like, Uncle Chad, stop using Mac. Fucking for God's sake, please stop using a Mac.
I'm pretty fascinated that like the two games that they discovered were Divinity 2 and RuneScape.
Yeah.
Like I would not expect a 9-year-old to just randomly discover those two games out of the blue.
Well, they've played a lot of stuff. Like they've played Minecraft, Dungeons, a bajillion times. My brother is really big into Diablo, so they've played all the Diablo games 1,000 times. So I'm sure they've played a bunch of what they're able to play, and now they're just like, now we have a PC. What can we play here that we couldn't have played on our Xbox?
That does not excuse 25-year-old RuneScape. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Well, they specifically were talking about that one because you could play it on mobile, and I downloaded it on mobile, and none of that text is optimized for mobile, and it looks like everything in the game is a secret because it was written for ants. They don't want you to know it or read it because it's so small.
The woman from Detroit Become Human is on the screen again. We're sorry, everyone.
There she is.
Oh God! Oh
Look
God!
away.
Oh God! You
Look
can't
away.
tell it's her because your face is covering. Actually, if you get your face close enough, it could be you with blonde hair.
That's true.
Anyway, so yeah, that's a bunch of shit that I played. Papa John's.
Sounds like a fun break.
Yeah. Let's move on to our quest log. VR Studio shuts down. Son of a bitch. Says Adam Bankhurst at IGN. First Contact Entertainment, the developer behind such PlayStation VR titles as Firewall Ultra and Firewall 0 Hour, has announced it will be shutting down at the beginning of 2024. Here's a quote. After almost 8 years of working with the most amazing team I've ever had the pleasure of being part of, I'm sad to announce that we will be closing our company First Contact Entertainment by the end of the year. The lack of support for VR within the industry has eventually taken its toll. They were founded in 2016 by a group of ex-Starbreeze developers. This sucks. This sucks for two reasons. One, those games are actually good. Like Firewall Ultra, Firewall 0 Hour is the PSVR 1 title that we played for game night a couple times and had a lot of fun doing it until the audience dropped off. Not the audience, the player base dropped off, and we were just against these super good people forever, and it was like, this sucks. But then Firewall Ultra, obviously VR2 is not getting a ton of push from Sony or support from its first-party studios, and just like VR in general is not getting a ton of push right now. So Firewall Ultra came out and no one really knew it and nobody played it. And I hope this is not the first of many, many other VR studios that are like, we're not seeing return on our investment here, so we're bouncing or we're closing or we're shifting to other things. But this is a very high-profile one who made very good games that is still not successful several years later.
I feel really bad for these guys. Clearly, they were at the kind of like forefront, the sword's edge of, really getting the most out of the VR platform, figuring out how to do a shooter in 3D virtual space. I will say, Firewall 0 Hour, a game that I had a lot of respect for. It's also the single VR game that caused me to feel the most sick after playing it. This game did not agree well with me, but I don't really put that on the studio. I think that was more me not playing that game in a very healthy manner.
It's probably just that raw salmon you took a bite out of before you.
Yeah. Just giant hunk of salmon that I just chowed down into. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm going to play some Horizon Firewall Zero Hour, whatever it's called.
Horizon Firewall. Yeah, no.
All these game names sound the same, by the way.
They do.
You can't give me some slack.
Forza
on that one.
Horizon Firewall Zero Dawn Hour.
Yeah. Well, what was the actual Horizon one called?
Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Call of the Mountain.
Horizon, look at those sexy feet.
Absolutely. The only way it seems to me that any VR studios can survive if you're like married to Meta or one of the big companies that happen to do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about their financials, but obviously Asgard's Wrath just came out at the end of December. VR title for Meta 3. I think you got it for free if you bought a Meta 3, and that was like a 91 on Metacritic. So it's like, oh, here's a really good one of these, and Meta supporting it and giving away copies of it. So, but if you're not one of those like lucky few, yeah, it looks rough. So, we'll figure it out, or maybe we won't. I don't know.
That's it for our quest log. And now it's time for 3 back-to-back cool segments, starting with a surprise from Cozy. Oh, I love surprises. Oh my God.
Man.
So freaking excited.
Man. Get ready for this one. Okay. So this segment requires a bit of runway from me to help explain it. So just give me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the Game Awards happened in December of last year. And
this runway, is it something that I can continue to listen to while peeing? Is it long enough that I could do that, or do you need me to respond?
Yeah, you can go pee. It's fine.
Okay.
Adam will catch you up on anything you missed. All right. So the Game Awards happened in December of last year, and much like that one Fallout 4 meme, everybody was not super happy with it. People were pretty disappointed in, how it failed to properly honor the people in the industry that actually developed the titular games in question. That was the worst aspect of this year's Game Awards, full stop. It was the developers that were disenfranchised by them, not a random podcaster on a podcast called Respawning Fire. However, if I can be selfish for just a moment in time, the Game Awards were disappointing to me personally because over the past few years, and especially in 2023, I've really made an effort to try to play video games upon the release, or at least within the year in which they released, so that I could take part in the conversation surrounding them. Previously, in years past, I wasn't very good at playing games the years that they would come out. I would typically wait months, years to finally get around to them. And with the advent of doing podcasting, I've really tried to make more of an effort to curtail that and actually play games, upon launch. And so it was disappointing that, the 1 year that I really committed to doing that as much as possible, I felt like the final big celebration of all that at the end of the year, the Game Awards, was mostly about, hey, here's what you have to look forward to in 2024, not about all the games that I invested so much time and hours into. And so originally I was like, you know what, for fun, I've been keeping track of all the games that I've completed since 2013, and it'd be fun if I were to go over each year and highlight all the games that I completed in each year that actually released in said year, and basically go over on the podcast and be like, look, I played a small amount of games in 2013, played a slightly greater amount of games in 2014, basically highlight how over time I've made more of an effort to play more games of the year that they released over time to kind of underscore the frustration that I'm feeling. And basically, the more that I assemble this list, the more that I realize that actually this isn't as much of a linear trajectory as I thought it would be. There were some years where I definitely didn't play a whole lot of games that released that year, other years where I definitely did. And so I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't really support the central thesis that I'm going for, but you know what? These lists are so weird and so unusual and so unexpected that I feel like it would be fun for me to read them on the podcast anyways, after going through all the trouble of making them. So without further ado, here is yours truly, Alexander Kazina, aka Cozy Bear, reading every single game that he completed in the years in which they originally released. 2013, I completed 5 games that released that year. Guys want to take any guesses?
2013.
Yes.
Oh,
What was that?
geez.
Was that
the launch year of the new systems, right?
was that launch year or is that no?
It was.
It was.
But I'll give you a
Uncharted
little bit of a
4,
hint.
A Thief's End.
I didn't play. Also, that game did not release that year.
I
And I
thought
was
that
going to
was
say, I did
2013.
not buy a PS4 in 2013. But
Oh,
anyways,
hoops in my shoes.
the games that I played were God of War Ascension,
Okay.
Bioshock Infinite,
Okay.
Super Mario 3D World, Pokemon X, and Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Not a super long list, but all like respectable AAA games. God of War Ascension, a little bit on the weekend. Bioshock Infinite, that was funny because like that's an example of a game typically in the past I would not have played the year of its release, but it was very discounted at like, I want to say $30 at Best Buy. I went to go pick it out, bring it to the cashier. She tried to ring me up for like $50. And it's like, but wait, hold on. It's actually $30. She checked and she's like, you're right. And per our policy, we actually have to sell it for even less now. We actually have to sell it to you for $20.
What policy is that?
I don't know, but I got it for $20. That game has had, a bit of a negative critical reappraisal in recent years, but for $20, that was a good value. All right. 2014.
So I fucking love that game, and more people need to admit that game is great.
I will definitely replay it before the next Bioshock one day comes out, if it ever comes out. 2014, I played 10 games that year that released in 2014. Any takers?
I am going to digitaldreamdoor.com, who has a list of the
no.
top 10 games of each year until 2019. So let's see.
Let's say
Of
there's a
these games.
Pokemon game in there that you played.
2014, right?
Mhm.
You definitely played Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, in fact, yes, that is. I can confirm that what Mario Kart 8 was one of the 10 games.
I'm going to say Smash Bros. Wii U.
Yes, that is. Another one.
Smash Bros. 3DS.
Another one. We got 3. Can we go
Okay.
for the full queen sweep on this one?
Was it
There's no way.
4? How many were there?
There was 10 total.
10.
Oh, 10. Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
Binding of
I
Isaac.
think
Rebirth.
There's no way
No.
Cozy played that.
No. Still, 3 out of 10. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'll
Shovel
just
Knight.
go ahead and I'll... No, I did not play that.
okay.
I did play it eventually, but not that year. So, the games that I did play in 2014 that released that year were Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, Mario Kart 8,
Oh, good game.
NES Remix 2, Smash Bros. For 3DS, and Smash Bros. For Wii U. This one sort of counts, but I put it on the list anyways. Bioshock Infinite Burial at Sea Episode 2, because that technically
counts.
released in 2014. Pokemon Omega Ruby, that was the Pokemon game you missed. Persona Q, Shadow of the Labyrinth, that was the 3DS Persona game. Sword Art Online, Hollow Fragment, that was a Vita game, actually, that released that year. Decent. There were some issues with that game, but that game had a lot of good stuff in it. And Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, the sequel fighting game to Persona
Gotcha.
4 Arena. 2015, only played 6 games. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now, this is a bit of a pitiful list.
We're not going to guess it then. If you're
I'll
like,
just go
these are
ahead.
awful.
Super Mario Maker.
No, in fact, I've not even played any of the Mario Maker games.
It's going to
actually.
be bullshit, Chad. They're all going to be bullshit. Watch.
They're all going to be Cump Jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Not that bad. We're not at the really terrible trophy games just yet. First game, Splatoon. I played the original Splatoon in the year it released because it was like I want to see what cool, new Nintendo games Nintendo has to offer. Pokemon Shuffle, which is a 3DS game where I think that's the one that's like Pokemon Troze. It's like a Pokemon puzzle game anyways. Pokemon Rumble World. That's the one where you're like playing with like a bunch of like little Pokemon robots that are like battling a bunch of other Pokemon robots. This one had like a lot of bad like gotcha free to play like in-game currency stuff.
And this is not a
Pokemon-
mobile game. This is a 3DS game.
Yeah, 3DS.
That had gotcha in-game shit. Okay.
Yeah. Pokemon Picross. This is a Pokemon Picross game. This one was actually pretty good. There was, what I remember about this game also had like some timer stuff where like you had to pay in-game currency to like shorten the timer, but like there was like an exploit that you could actually take advantage of to not have to do that, if I remember correctly. Number 5, Mini Metro. Either of you know of Mini Metro? It was like a
that's the puzzle game where you're like trying to move subways in order to like let things through or something like that.
And number 6, I don't even count this one, but I figured I'd put it on the list for fun. Persona 4 Racing All Afternoon, which is a fan-made Persona 4 karting game, because at that point the whole joke had been, man, there are too many Persona 4 spin-offs. At one point they're going to eventually make a karting game, and someone went ahead and did just that, because it didn't actually exist.
So I'm looking at screenshots of Pokemon Rumble World, and like we can all agree Nintendo Miis were like the ugliest, worst things to ever happen to video games, right?
Yeah.
They are just hideous.
Those aren't even Miis, by the way. It's like this own like take on like the Pokemon style, where they're like these little like very polygonal toys that for whatever reason they used a really long time, but I don't think there's been a new Rumble game in quite a while. All right, 2016. Now this year, I actually played 17 games, but let me tell you, there is some bullshit on this list.
Well, definitely Pokemon Sun. Are you a Sun man or a Moon man?
Oh wait, hold on. I have to issue a correction. I only played 16 games on this list because I realized that I had erroneously put My Name is Mayo twice on this list.
Oh God.
Okay.
Yeah, God.
Probably because I played both the PS4 and Vita version of the game.
Same.
That's probably what happened. So yeah, My Name is Mayo. Okay, so this game, this one's weird. Virginia. Do you remember Virginia?
Yeah.
I know. Mhm.
Virginia is this weird intersection of, I only played that game because it was an easy platinum, but that game is also like a legitimate, like bona fide artistic indie experience. Like that's actually like
Holden
a game
and I
that you
played
would.
that on the couch together,
Oh,
and he fell asleep through most of it.
It's like 3 hours total, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those games where I'm like, well, I would not have played this had it not been an easy platinum, and I'm glad I did. Number 3, Punchline. This is a Japanese game where the plot's really complicated, but basically you're a ghost and you have to possess different people. But if you accidentally view their panties, the world explodes because of timeline shenanigans. Very problematic. So the deal with that game, and I think this might be the deal with one or two other games on this list, is this was when I was in Japan, and so it was actually easy for me to go out and get Vita and PS4 games that are like super easy to platinum, because like literally all you have to do is just hit X, because they're like super easy visual novel games. And so I kind of bought a whole bunch of those games and then later sold them when I was running out of money towards the end of the trip. Number 4, The Deadly Tower of Monsters. This was an indie game that was given out on PlayStation Plus. Number 5, Monster Jam Crush It. This was a easy platinum game. Number 6, Nero. Nothing Ever Remains Obscure. Probably one of the worst games I played on the PlayStation 4, but it was an easy platinum. Number 7, Gemini Heroes Reborn. Another platinum game. Number 8, The Little
This
Acre.
is like when you were like a drug addict, and this is like your worst
So
part of your life.
I'd completely forgotten about this. You know what this was? Is back in the day, Kind of Funny had forums. They had like official message boards that you could go on, and their official forums had multiple PlayStation trophy tournaments in like the months of like September and November of that year, which it was kind of crappy because like I was there to enjoy Japan, but the Kind of Funny message boards were like, but no, you also have to hunker down and play a whole bunch of platinum games. What sucks is that there were like clearly some people on those message boards and like had access to straight up a factory of games, because like I was like pumping in so many platinums, and somehow I still always ended up at like 4th or 5th place, even though I did like 30-40 platinums per month. Let's see here. The Little Acre, that's like a it's like an adventure game set in Ireland, but they also go to like an alternate dimension. Number 9, The Bunker. That's the adventure game where it's all like live action segments and you're in a bunker. I know, not the most descriptive description of all time. Number 10, Her Majesty's Spiffing. I don't remember that one. Number 11, My Nintendo Picross, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. That's the Twilight Princess themed Picross game. Number 12, a legitimate game, Severed, the game from the developers of Guacamelee, where you were like
game.
severing,
Yeah.
Drinkbox. Number 13, Pokemon Moon. There's a Pokemon. Number 14, Kingdom Hearts Unchained X. That's the Kingdom Hearts mobile game that I played for many a year. Number 15, Big's Big Fishing Adventure 3. That is, you know how last year we had Sonic gets murdered on the train simulator, whatever? That was like their version of that for the year 2016. It was like a free April Fool's game. And yeah, that's it for 2016. 2017, this is where we're going to get real dire. Only played
Hold on,
4 games that year. Sure, go for it.
I feel like Nier Automata or Nier Automata.
No.
Ah, booty sweat.
Was there was a Pokemon game this year?
I'll say this. One game of these 4 games you would never be able to guess in a million years. Okay. The other 3 games I feel like you could figure out if you put your brains together.
PUBG? Or Fortnite?
No.
Those are 2 big free-to-play games. Oh, no, PUBG was not free-to-play.
No. I'll give you 3 more guesses.
Was there a Pokemon game?
Yes.
It was...
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
That is correct. That was one of the games that I played in 2017 that came out that year.
Mario and Cappy.
No.
Oh, you didn't?
He just recently played that for the first time.
Yeah, of course, Breath of the Wild, I only beat that game for the first time last year, but I did play it for like 20 or so hours in
Horizon
2017. No. So the 4 games are Breath of the Wild, Pokemon, Ultra Sun. That was the name of the game. It was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Moon Man and then an Ultra Sun Man. Okay.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which is its actual game. That's not me riffing. And Nubla, which is another one of those super easy platinum games where you explore a museum and there's an elephant there. And I don't remember a whole lot else about it. Oh, man. Here we go. The saddest year of them all, 2018. There's no way that either of you are going to guess these games, so I'm just going to say them. Number 1, Celeste, a respectable platforming game. Number 2, Word Search by Paugi. This is one of those, like, you know, like you get like a newspaper and it's like, oh, you got to like circle all the words. Mm-hmm. It's basically like a video game version of that. Number 3, Energy Invasion, a pretty bad, super easy platinum game. And number 4, Chad, maybe you might remember this one, Little Adventure on the Prairie.
No.
Another really bad, super easy platinum game where literally you're just running through horrid-looking pixel art environments for like 10 minutes and you get yourself a platinum trophy. What I remember about 2018 is, for whatever reason, like I remember there being a 2-month stretch where literally all I played was the PS3 version of Dark Souls 2. I was like, I don't know. I'm just really into playing this game for whatever reason. Good game. But yeah, I think that year I was like, the chips were down and I wasn't really feeling a lot of games. 2019, back up to 6. Anyone want to take any guesses?
Death Stranding.
Yes, that is one of the games. Death Stranding is one. There's another game in here that you're going to be like, oh, of course. How
Apex Legends?
Yep, that's the other one. Apex Legends.
I'm trying to remember what came out that year.
Sekiro?
Nope, not Sekiro.
Didn't play Star Wars.
Will be Jedi Fallen Order?
Yes, I know he didn't play that.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think I played it that year.
Fire Emblem Three Houses?
No.
Oh, butts. All right, I'm out of guesses.
The games are Kingdom Hearts 3, Apex Legends, Death Stranding, Tetris 99, Pokemon Shield, and Picross, Lord of the Nazarick. It's a Picross game based around an anime called Overlord, which is about a super min-maxy high-level MMO player that gets transported to a magical realm. And the Picross game is about you and his various lieutenants all creating Picross puzzles effectively. 2019, only 6 games played. 2020, 18 games played that came out that year.
Pandemic, y'all.
The pandemic, but also the other main factor is that was when I started doing Press YYC, the podcast I did before this one. And so I definitely got into the habit of being like, well, I should play more of these games as they release because I want to talk about it on the podcast. Also, my friends might invite me and be like, hey, there's this game called Fall Guys. Normally I wouldn't play Fall Guys, but if, AJ Fraser, Nathan are saying, hey, we should play this together, I'm going to, take them up on the offer. So 2020, I played Astro's Playroom, Bugsnax, Demon Souls Remastered, Patapon 2 Remastered, Dreams, Call of Duty Warzone, Bloodroots, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Last of Us Part 2, Marvel's Avengers, Fall Guys, Kingdom Hearts, Melody of Memory, My Name is Mayo 2, still some bullshit in there, Pixel Puzzle Makeout League, The Otterman Empire, Ninjala, Super Mario Bros. 35, and Kingdom Hearts Dark Road. 2021, back down to 12. It's still a respectable list. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intermission, Maquette, Legends of Talia Arcadia. That was the bullshit game of this year. Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, Life is Strange, True Colors, Deathloop, ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, The Prophecy of the Throne. That's all one name. It's actually a good game. Moving on. Mass Effect, Legendary Edition, Back 4 Blood, The Artful Escape, Halo Infinite, and Metroid Dread. 2022, 15 games. We have Nobody Saves the World. Yes.
Were you on this one was that 2022, late 2020? I don't know what today is. When did you come on here? When were you on RAF? Because that will affect how many games you played, I bet, as well as Press YYZ.
Right. I mean, I joined the podcast in 2022.
Okay, I assumed. Yeah. I was trying to get my mind right.
I don't remember. Do you remember when it was, Chad? Was it August? Was it like September?
You had been on the show so many times prior to that too that right. I just assume you've been here since. You've always been here. Kind of funny thing in 2019.
2022, Nobody Saves the World, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Tunic, Citizen Sleeper, Stray, Pokemon Emerald Cross, Bugsnax, The Isle of Big Snacks, Splatoon 3, God of War Ragnarok, Immortality, Vampire Survivors, Sifu, Sonic Frontiers, Cult of the Lamb, and Neon White. And finally, 2023, a total of 20 games, the highest of any of these lists. Metroid Prime Remastered, Dead Space Remake, Diablo 4, Coffee Talk 2, Citizen Sleeper DLC, Vemba, Pikmin 4, Goodbye Volcano High, Pokemon Unova Emerald, The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sea of Stars, Lies of P, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, Alan Wake 2, Cocoon, Hi-Fi Rush, Viewfinder, Lethal Company, and Super Mario RPG Remake. And that's that.
Ooh. I do like how your
those
list
are all
evolved.
like legit games too. Well, aside from The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, that's legit.
That's a real game. Go on, Chad.
You just breezed right past this game called Pixel Puzzle Makeout League.
Oh, that game. Hold on. What year was that?
It features 4 regular ass looking people. Like they look like normal human beings. And then the 5th member of this party is a puzzle piece with a face and sexy legs.
That's fucking SpongeBob. That is a female SpongeBob puzzle piece.
Female SpongeBob puzzle piece.
What I remember about that game is I want to say the deal with that game was Nathan McInerney, who previously we had on the episode of Rafferty that we did a couple of months back, might have reviewed that game for an outlet. I think he was given like a review code to review it, and he was like, hey, this game's pretty fun, maybe worth checking out. And it's like, it sounds like the weird kind of game that I would be into. That game is okay. It's one of those games where like it's like experimenting with a lot of different genres. You're like doing a lot of puzzly stuff in like one moment, and then in another moment you're doing a lot of visual novelty stuff. There is some dating involved, but it's not like the deepest systems in the world. My thing about that game is it really felt like a shitpost that was made into a game that I think was too long for its own good. Sorry, Nathan, I know that you like this game, but I thought this game was just like, it's like after the first hour of playing it, it's like, oh man, this is really funny. There's all these weird characters. There's like the sexy puzzle piece character, and you have all the realistic humanoid characters. And then by hour 5, it's like, oh my God, just end. It was funny an hour ago. Just end it, please.
There's a screenshot that I just put in the Discord where sexy puzzle piece with legs is saying, don't worry, sweetie. Puzzle Planet pervs are my specialty.
Winky face.
10 out of 10.
It's funny, But again, after like your 12th hour of playing this game, you're like, okay, enough. Where's the ending? Where's the ending?
I think you've inspired me. I think I'm going to keep track of all the games that I play this year as well. I normally
Cool.
don't. Or so I've tried to, I think, 1 or 2 times in the past, and I just get bored in the first month and stop doing it. But
That's also
I think I'll do
sorry,
it.
real
I see
quick.
you and what's his face? What's his face from the thing?
What's his face from the thing?
Jacob McCourt.
Yeah.
I see he did it on Twitter too last year. So I think I'll do it. I think I'll do it.
Last thing I'll say about Pixel Puzzle Makeout League, that game ends with a like 3-minute long like live action music video that features like a realistic version of the game's villain who's like the evil like anti-puzzle dude. And I'm like, I can tell that they're trying to tell me something here, that they're trying to reach for some deeper meaning than what I've been anticipating for this final little bit of the game. But what the fuck is this?
Sam Lake could never.
No. Sam Lake wishes he was as deranged as the people that made that game.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to our next segment. Segment from Adam. Segment from Adam time. It's time for
There you go.
Adam's segment here. And it's time for Adam's segment. That's Cozy's favorite Christmas song, Auld Lang Syne.
Old lady time. All right, so
Old lady time.
we're going to do 2024 predictions. We're going to say, hey, what's going to happen in the year 2024 in video games? Did it last year. This year, there'll be a twist. I'll get to that once I go over the results from last year.
Ooh.
There are some interesting results. I'm just going to go in order that I wrote them down, and then we'll know the winner of last year's predictions. First up, Alexander Kozina made 3 predictions. Prediction number 1, there will be a series of Metroid announcement, including Metroid Prime 4 being officially reshown and 1 remaster releasing in the fall. I'll give you half a point because we did get 1 remastered. 4 doesn't exist in Nintendo. Didn't mention it, doesn't exist. Get out of here. To your chagrin.
Hold on.
I will say, sorry, go ahead.
Did Metroid Prime Remaster come out?
No, it
It
released
didn't
in
come in the fall,
February.
but it released, though. He said it would come
But-
out. He said he was guessing the fall, but I'll give
Chad,
it to
in
him
my
because it came out.
defense, I could have easily said the Metroid Prime trilogy remastered will release, but I was conservative and said just 1 remastered, and I
He
got
said
that
1
right.
specifically. Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
give him half a point for that because 4 was not mentioned at all. So give him 0.5 points, Chad. Next up,
Oh, I'm keeping track of shit?
if you can, or somebody, just do
Okay.
track of points for whoever everyone has, because he has half a point right now. God of War will have an expansion. No, he just said there will be a new God of War game set in the British Isles.
I remember this.
Yes, because
Now,
all
to
the
be
stuff
fair,
with Mimir mentioning where he's
We
from and all
got
that.
a new God of War experience. I don't know if we would call it a full game. And a like major subplot of that game is while Kratos is venturing in his mind palace recreation of Greece, Mimir is being transported back to his youth and experiencing all of his misadventures with the entourage of King Odin. Sorry, Oberon.
And we saw that, right?
No, we didn't. We only heard him describe it.
So how do we do this? Because there was a new God of War game, but it was not British Isles. You want to give him another half point? Because he did say there'd be a new God of War
we'll do
thing.
half point. All right, you're up to 1 now, Cozy.
Up to 1 whole point. Cozy said, we talked about this before we started recording, that there would be 2 major contenders for Game of the Year. He said Tears of the Kingdom would absolutely be there. But the other game that would be at the top of everybody else's mind during that conversation would also be Redfall. I believe this prediction is incorrect.
Yeah.
I do want to put this
Yeah.
out there. You guys can go back and re-listen to the predictions episode we did at the beginning
did.
of last year. Adam did, but if you haven't, basically my argument there was, look, it seems like Arcane is on a winning streak here. Everything they touch turns to gold. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, Deathloop. They make great games one after the other. And it looks like if Redfall delivers, this could have the potential to be Arcane's biggest game yet. Not necessarily their best game, but a game that would strike that kind of perfect balance of being a game that is really good, but also is accepted much more in the mainstream on a level that something like Dishonored or Deathloop were not, which would put it in contention with a game like Tears of the Kingdom. That didn't happen.
No, I think that'll be their next vampire game, where more mainstream people get into it.
That's true.
I think that'll be the next one. Chad had 3 predictions as well. He said, announced in 2023 that we would get MetaQuest 3 released, and another big contender in VR would be announced. So we did get MetaQuest 3. You're correct. That did come out this year. Was that announcement this year? I don't remember.
That was the summer of 2023 that got announced.
I would give you the full point for that, because you said a big contender, baby. And you said Quest 3. I would give it to you. Prediction number 2. A more powerful Nintendo console is announced. It could have been just like a Nintendo Switch Plus. It could have been Nintendo Switch 2. And we ain't here. They ain't say shit. They actually denied any rumors of a next console. So none of that. And last, Chad said that the Activision Blizzard deal would not go through at all.
Ugh.
Another
It was this close to getting that. Close. Like deadlines were approaching. It was mere hours.
But that means you and Cozy are tied at 1 full point apiece.
That is correct.
Now we're on to the big dog, Adam, his predictions. I said 2023 would have more games over 90 on Metacritic than the past 2 years. There was 8 in 2022 and 6 in 2021. This year, there were 14 games over a 90 on Metacritic. One of them, and there was also a DLC. So there's 15 total, but one of them is a DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles. Either way, I got it correct, because 14 is more than 8, even if we don't include the DLC. Next up, I said Wolverine gets a 2024 release window. Did not happen. We learned a lot about Wolverine, but we did not get an official release window, so that does not count. And my last one, I said no more than 3 games launched into PlayStation Plus, extra, premium, whatever. You know, the prior year there was Stray was the only one, so I said there would be no more than 3. And this year there were 5. There were 5.
Are we all just as good at guessing?
We are. It was Humanity, Teardown, Chia, Sea of Stars, and Rogue Legacy 2 all launched into the extra tier, which is wild from going to 1 to 5, but they did it. They added more games. So we all got 1 point.
I'm proud of us.
Wow.
There we go. This year's be a little different, though. We are all going to bring 3 predictions again, but this time there's a little added twist. After everyone gives their predictions, there will also be a little added bonus. Everyone, we'll have there'll be 9 things on the board. Well, technically for you, there's only 6. When everyone makes their predictions, you have to have a counter or you have to have something to agree to. You get 1. So I can just say, like, let's just say Chad said, no, Activision Blizzard is not going to happen. I could say, I'm going to counter that. That is going to happen. So if Chad gets it wrong and I get it right, I get an extra point. It's a way for people to get a point. Or if I would have said, Cozy, there will not be a God of War game set in the British Isles, I would get a half a point because there was a God of War game, but it was not set in the British Isles. So basically, you're going to either agree or completely disagree as a way to get a point for yourself. So just keep that in mind as everyone's reading their stuff off. You got to agree or disagree with one of them.
Can you say that again?
Everyone's going to go through their predictions. Then you pick one that you say absolutely is not going to happen or one that you agree with. And then you will get points if you get it correct.
Okay.
Just a way to give yourself another point, basically. But we'll go ahead and Chad, you go first because you have 3. So Chad, go with your first 3 predictions. Yes.
Now I went big and bold on this first one. But like this is my like wild and crazy kids prediction. Nintendo Switch successor will be backwards compatible with physical Game Boy cartridges. That's my prediction.
I think I have my counter already. And whenever you make them, just copy and paste them into the doc, and I'll copy and paste them over into my own doc later. Okay. But you think Game Boy, is there a reason, or you just...
Well, they have this Game Boy emulator up and running now on Nintendo Switch. The launch of the Analog Pocket has brought back a lot of like retro type stuff. We've seen what like rumbles of a Game Boy Classic kind of thing, maybe ish. But like, I don't know. Something about it's just like it's not going to be DS games. It's not because it doesn't have two screens. It's not going to be. I feel like it's going to be Game Boy cartridges. My initial prediction was going to be like, it's not backwards compatible with physical at all. But then I was like, no, it is. It's got to be. But also, what if?
Hmm.
So I think that's what's going to be.
But your whole prediction is it will be backwards compatible specifically with Game Boy. Or you're going to say it's backwards compatible.
Specifically with no.
Comma,
I feel like
and-
is a given. Backwards compatible with Game Boy cartridges. That is it is all or nothing.
Just all or nothing. All right, that's how you want to do
Don't give me
it.
any half points in here.
Live your life, bud. All right, what's number 2?
Yep. Number 2. Microsoft closes or merges at least 2 first-party studios. Because right now they have like, I don't know, something close to 30, and I feel like that is just unwieldy at this point.
I think
They've gotta
especially
start consolidating.
those Activision, I could see some of those Activision teams getting brought into one.
Yep.
I could see that. Okay. Number 3.
Number 3. PlayStation Portal enables Bluetooth audio in some way. Now this could be like a Nintendo Switch way where they're like, surprise, we had Bluetooth all along.
Remember? Like 2 years in,
Or-
they're like, oh, by the way, it's there. What do you mean it's there?
Yeah. Or it could be through some PlayStation Link audio adapter that you can plug in.
It has
the
to be an
USB-C
official
port or
PlayStation
something
way
like
to
that.
do it, though.
Correct. It has to be an official PlayStation way to enable Bluetooth audio on PlayStation Portal.
Okay. I like
Those
it.
are my 3.
Very good. I'll go next because I only had 4. Luckily, none of yours were mine. You were absolutely correct. My first one. Ooh. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will be received better than the Avengers. For me, that means better as a score on Metacritic. I haven't even looked at it. I don't know what the Metacritic is. I will say it'll score better than that. And I think
Do you want me to look it up right now, or do you want me to keep
while
it
I'm
a secret?
talking. No, you can just tell me what the Avengers Metacritic. I think Metacritic will score better. I think overall, like word of mouth, where people are like, "Oh no, this is actually not awful" or whatever. Not saying everyone's like it's my favorite game of all time. I think people are like, "No, this is okay. This isn't as bad as we thought it was going to be." And people will be pleasantly surprised. And it will be-
Marvel's Avengers scored a 66 on Xbox One, a 67 on PS4, a 68 on PC, and a 73 on PS5.
So close.
Okay. I'll just say that the highest score for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will be higher than the highest score for Avengers. Just to keep it easy. All right. Very cool. I'm going to go with this one. This is a comma, so this is a two-parter. Unlike
Okay.
Chad, I am willing to hedge my bets. Switch successor will release in 2024, as well as have a game for it in Game of the Year talks, aka it needs to be in the top 6 at the Jeff Keighley Awards. So the new system will come out probably the back half of the year, and one of the games on that, even though it'll be a quick turnaround, people are like, this deserves to be a Game of the Year contender. So basically, it has a killer app when it launches, and near it launch. Is my second
Does it have to be a Nintendo Switch exclusive, or does a multi-platform game that's also available on it also count?
It just needs to be on the new one. Not backwards compatible, but native to the new one. Because I don't want it, because then I could screw myself like Breath of the Wild was on both. And you'd be like, well, it was on Wii U, it doesn't count.
Let me clarify. If Alan Wake 3 comes out next year and is a contender for Game of the Year and it's playable on the new Nintendo Switch console.
I mean a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive game. Yes.
Okay.
That exclusive game for Nintendo Switch 2. Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah. All right. And then that just seems like such an easy one. I don't want to have that much fun. At least one, it's out now launch is a big hit. Like a game that's like, oh, this game is out now. This game is out today, and people really like it that we didn't know about before. And it will be on console. Because a lot of times on PC, some game will come in early access people are in love with. This will be like a la like the finals. Like, hey, it's out and people like it. Or hey, a la Hi-Fi Rush. It came out, now people like it. We're going to get another one of those this year. It specifically needs to be on console. Just to avoid all the cool PC stuff. Those are my 3. And I will
Where
copy those.
does the it's out now has to come I guess just like we didn't know the game was
Yeah,
coming.
the out now is
or-
basically we didn't know about this game, and now this game is out.
Okay. Doesn't have to be announced at like a Jeff Keighley thing specifically.
No, it's just no one knew about it. Oh, this game's actually really fucking cool, and people are playing this game now. Apex Legends, Hi-Fi Rush, the finals, that kind of an idea. Those are my 3. I'll copy those now.
Oh, I already put them in there. I mean, you can change the wording if you want.
No, sounds good. Cozy, what do you got for me?
Okay, so for my predictions, what I decided to do is I decided to make 3 Nintendo predictions, 3 Sony predictions, and 3 Microsoft predictions. And then what I did was I basically narrowed down the most conservative prediction from each set of predictions that I made. Now, mind you,
conservative. Come on.
I said
there's going to be physical Game Boy games in this motherfucker.
I say conservative, but each of these predictions I think are still interesting, still colorful enough to make for a fun time. So, my first prediction, my Nintendo prediction, I know I've been burned many times in the past, but fuck it, I'm going to say it. Metroid Prime 4 is finally announced. Now, here's the thing. I got a few conditionals on this one. Number 1, it is a cross-gen game coming both to the original Switch and the Switch successor. And they will make a big deal about Samus Aran being voiced in it. Samus Aran and whether or not she should be a voice character in games has been one of those very contentious topics for a very long time. You know, because of the awkwardness of her performance in Metroid Other M, there have been a lot of people that have said, we don't need to have her voiced. I think that Nintendo is going to come out swinging and be like, fuck it. We believe that we can really give a voice to this character, the likes of which we have never given to her before, and we can really elevate the experience surrounding it as a result of this. And I think that hand in hand with this, they're going to announce that the person voicing Samus Aran is, and I want to preface this by saying, I'm not saying that either of these 2 people will be the one, but I think that it is going to be someone on the level of an Ashley Johnson or a Laura Bailey. I'm not saying it's either of those 2 people, but I'm saying is they're going to say, oh, and she's voiced by X, and we're going to be like, oh, X, that's a name that I know. And I only say that because I feel like historically Nintendo doesn't really tend to make a big point of the voice actors that it hires for these roles. Usually it tends to be, you know, people that are a little bit more unknown. The actress that they brought on to voice Zelda in Breath of the Wild was very much an unknown when they, you know, gave a voice to that character for the first time. But I feel like over time, Nintendo has eased a little bit on that. Most recently, they hired Matt Mercer to play Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom. That felt like a bit of a turning point, and I feel like we might have a turning point with this game as well.
I like the 4-point prediction for his first prediction. I love it. Do it.
Well, it's a quarter of a point times 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
All right. My PlayStation prediction. I think that Sony is going to make one last PlayStation VR push in one of their state of plays. I think that they are going to announce Half-Life Alyx for it. I think we're finally going to get that port. And I think they're going to announce a brand spanking new VR game from Insomniac Games. Now, thing about Insomniac Games is, as you might have heard, they recently got leaked. A lot of their slate over the next decade is now out in the wild for you to peruse and find. I don't think I'm being unkosher in saying that amongst the stuff discussed in their leaks, VR games were not really a prominent part of it. I don't think there was like a big PowerPoint slide of like, oh yeah, and we're also developing this new upcoming VR game. And to that I say, yes, totally fair, but also we know for a fact that a lot of the information in that leak is not particularly up to date. There was a Jason Schreier article that came out shortly after the leak that was like, hey, one of the big games that's discussed in these leaks isn't even being developed anymore. All the information about it being this thing that's actively in development at Insomniac is completely out of date at this point. And so I think that even though it was not a component in those leaks that occurred recently, I do think that Insomniac is working on a new PSVR game because they, more so than most other studios in PlayStation sort of cadre of studios, have like a reputation, a pedigree of making prior VR games. Not for PlayStation, but they have that experience. And I think that Sony is going to try to harness that to give PlayStation VR to one last push.
Can I ask for clarification on a couple things?
Yes.
When you say brand new game from Insomniac's Games, does that have to be a brand new IP or just not a port of something else that already exists?
I will keep it open. It can be based on an existing IP. It can be something new.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If Insomniac makes a VR game, it counts.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Does it have to be at a state of play specifically?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
How many games at a state of play qualifies as one last push?
More than the two that I just mentioned. It'll be Half-Life Alyx, it'll be Insomniac's VR game, and it will be at least one more game, but hopefully more than just that one more game.
So the push has to include Half-Life Alyx and Insomniac Games?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Final prediction. Starfield will receive many major updates, perhaps even an expansion or two in 2014, but by the end of the year, it will still be as disliked as it currently is now.
Wait, sorry, say it again. I was typing. So, can you start over? I'm so sorry.
Starfield, the game from Bethesda, will receive some major updates and maybe even an expansion or two over the course of 2024. But by the end of the year, it will still be as disliked as it currently is now. Maybe it'll make a prediction, and maybe it'll make a comeback way later on down the road, maybe in 2015, 2025, 2026. Man, so many years. Maybe 2-3 years from now, we'll all be sitting around being like, wow, Starfield is such a great game. It's the new Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty of a game that just made an incredible turnaround and is now completely and utterly incredible. But I don't think that it's going to make that comeback next year. And what that means, just so that you can give me something to quantify this prediction on, is that on Steam, it will still say that all reviews for the game are mixed, and all recent reviews will be mostly negative.
Sorry, on Steam, all
reviews will be mixed. All reviews will be mixed. All recent reviews will be mostly negative.
All right. That's it.
There we go. Those are the... Oh, yeah. So now, everyone, you get one counter or one agree. You'd be like, that's bang on. I'm agreeing with that. I'll piggyback off of that point. Or one, like,
Can we
there's
counter
no...
one of our own?
No, you got to counter one of the other 6
Okay.
that somebody else made.
Okay.
I'm not going to play around. I will counter that Chad... Because the thing that Chad said, Nintendo Switch Success will be backwards compatible with physical Game Boy cartridges. So yeah, you said all or nothing. If you split it up, it'd be different, but I'm absolutely taking that as a counter. I'm going to counter that the Switch is backwards compatible with Game Boy cartridges.
All right. I'm going to counter Cozy's PSVR prediction.
You don't think they're going to make one final push?
I don't see Half-Life Alyx and Insomniac Games and at least one more thing being part of a state of play.
The one more thing is like, no.
I think the specificity is why I would also take that bet. Because even if they do make a push, but then they don't announce the 2 games, Chad gets 2/3 of a point. Or 2/3.
That's right.
So that's a good one.
This is a little risky on my part, because it's not a completely unreasonable prediction, but I am going to counter Microsoft closes or merges at least 2 first-party studios. I don't think it's an unreasonable prediction. I think that could very well happen, but I feel like it's the best bet I got.
All right. So there's our counters. There's a prediction. Everyone, tell us your predictions. Play along. Who had the worst one?
We do the I agree with those things?
No, it's a counter or an I agree. My bad.
Oh, counter or an I agree. Gotcha.
Unless you want to do both. Oh, yeah. We can do both if you want to. I mean, we're here now.
I have another one. Yeah.
This is the only time to do it. Let's do an I agree
with your it's out now, launch is a big hit.
Okay.
And will be on console.
So you write Chad agrees in parentheses after that?
Yep.
Let's see. So Cozy, between our lists, what are you thinking? Because I wasn't even thinking about this before, but let me see.
I agree that Suicide Squad will be better received than the Avengers, because all it needs to do is score a 74 and we're good.
It's funny you both agree with mine. It's almost like I made good predictions.
Oh, it's almost like you played it safe.
No, I did good ones. I will do. I'm going to agree with Cozy's the Starfield one, specifically because the whole thing comes down to Steam reviews, and if we're talking about Steam user reviews, I guess that's the safest bet to agree that they're going to be negative. I'll go with that.
Wait, is it on Steam, or do you have to download it through like Microsoft Launcher?
No,
or
it's
something
on.
like that?
Well, it's on Microsoft and Steam. It's on both.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Before we move on, do you want to hear some of the more outlandish predictions I made?
Oh
that
yeah,
got cut?
sure. If you got them.
All right. This is another one of the Nintendo predictions. The Seth Rogen Donkey Kong movie is announced. Everyone's wondering where's, the second Mario movie. I think they're going to space it out, have the Donkey Kong movie next, then Mario 2. King K. Rool is the villain in it, and he's voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch. The Crumlings as a whole are coded as basically being British colonizers trying to bring quote-unquote civilization to Donkey Kong Island. Dixie and Diddy Kong are played by Tom Holland and Zendaya, or if not them, two other A-list actors on their level. Trying to put so many conditionals to get me points. Mario and Luigi are in it in supporting roles to help build up to the plot of the second Mario movie.
That would have been smart, especially with the opening of Donkey Kong Country World in the parks.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Number 2. All right, this one, strap in, because this one is wild. Concord, the upcoming PlayStation 5 shooter from Firewalk Studios, is revealed to be set in the Resistance universe.
Whoa,
It takes
okay.
place centuries after the events of Resistance 3, with humanity having now achieved spaceflight. Their spacefaring exploration has brought them in contact with the Chimera on the original planet that they came from. Players will play as employees from rivaling space PMCs that have been sent to the Chimera planet to retrieve its valuable resources, hence the gameplay is PvPvE, of where you are battling other players for the resources while also battling the Chimera, which are AI controlled. The reason why the teaser trailer didn't allude to this at all is because, and we are fully in the realm of fantasy here, I think that when Sony put out that teaser trailer, the game had no connection to Resistance, and I think that Sony is so concerned and so fidgety about putting out an IP that doesn't have any connection to any prior IP that they went in and were like, hey, you guys should connect this to one of our pre-existing IP. Make it a Resistance game. And the game has, in the years since we last saw it, been converted into a game in the Resistance universe.
Interesting.
Yeah, thank you for listening to my fanfic.
Wild. That'd be crazy.
All right. Here's this last one. Adam, I think you'll appreciate this one.
Okay.
A new single-player expansion for Halo Infinite is announced, and it releases in the fall. It introduces a short flight jetpack that Master Chief can use in tandem with the grappling hook. I don't know why that made myself laugh. It's not even that. I guess it's just the
It's just all your little extra points on everything. It's like single player. It's gonna have a jetpack to go along with your grappling hook. It's very
Anyways,
good.
so yeah, Master Chief can use the jetpack in tandem with his grappling hook. It takes place on a new section of the Halo ring from Infinite that has a much more diverse biome, and it teases a future conflict that will force Chief and the weapon to return to Earth, setting it up so that the next major title/expansion from 343 Industries is going to be like their Halo 2 if Infinite was Halo 1, if that makes any sense. And there you go.
Gotcha. Very good. All right. I think that's it. That's our segment.
That brings us to Game On Game Show. The Game On Our Game Show, we play a game called Game On the Game Show. On our game show, game. We're going to do a quick round of something we do usually twice a year. It's Marry, Fuck, Kill 2024 Part 1. This is where we go the upcoming releases that have not verified, I guess, but announced release dates between now and the end of June, so the first 6 months of the year, and we decide which games we are going to marry, which games we are going to fuck, and which games we are going to kill. None of those have any kind of qualifiers about how good those games will be necessarily, and they mean pretty much nothing. To recap, for the last half of 2023, we decided we would marry Marvel Spider-Man 2, that we would fuck Quantum Error, which is that spooky game that came out and now has a 40 on Metacritic,
Ooh.
And we decided to kill Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, which I guess also came and went, and I didn't look up the Metacritic of that either, but
I
no
don't
one's
think
talking about it.
I don't think it was good.
So we have 12 games here, split into 4 different marry, fuck, kill things, and then we will decide which game of those we will ultimately marry, which will you fuck, and which we will kill. So, the theme of the first round is, excuse me, sir, I gotta check your asshole. All of these games have colons.
Okay.
Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Princess Peach, Showtime, exclamation point. South Park, Snow Day, exclamation point. Which game are we marrying? Which game are we fucking? Which game are we killing?
I feel it's most appropriate, even though, again, yeah, there's nothing to do with the quality of the game. Maybe it's best to kill South Park because that's a game where you... Fuck, but Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League literally has kill in the name.
It does have kill in the name.
Yeah.
And killing the Justice League generally would be a bad thing for planet Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also in
And
South
it might
Park,
not be good.
in South Park, characters get killed all the time and then they're back in another episode, unless it's like The Chef where the voice actor had complications and they couldn't
But here's
bring
the
him
thing:
back.
do you want to marry or fuck South Park Snow Day? Though that's the question.
No, I don't. I'm fine with killing it.
I think we got to kill South Park Snow Day. Makes me the least uncomfortable.
Which, what would you do to Suicide Squad in return?
I don't know. Are we gonna fuck or marry it? I feel like you would want to marry Peach, especially when to support her career being an actress. So I think we got to marry Peach and we got to fuck Suicide Squad.
There you go. Being an actress, which means we can be stay-at-home dads.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Best case scenario.
So we're marrying Princess Peach, fucking the Justice League, just so we can say, yeah, I put it in a shark once.
Yeah.
And then killing South Park Snow Day.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm done with that. Number 2. Don't call it a comeback. These are all remasters, remakes coming out. Persona 3 Reload, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered.
One of these is not like the others.
Yeah. I'd say we kill Tomb Raider because it needs to stay back in the 90s where it came from.
Oh, yikes. I don't know anything about Persona 3, but you're killing one with female lead, huh? That's how we're starting 2024?
There's female in Persona 3.
Okay.
Well, that is one, actually. For the record, Adam, I'm in agreement with you. We should kill Tomb Raider, but that is one of the big points of criticism of Persona 3 Reload.
No, Alex, I know this, but
have...
Chad doesn't know this, so we can just keep the bit going.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know that they cut out the part where you get to play as the female lead. Yes, I know.
Shh. Don't tell
But Chad doesn't know that. What were the games? There was Persona. What was the other one?
Persona 3 Reload and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Well, I guess, Chad, what do you want to do to Final Fantasy? Because that's your thing.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't want to be married to Persona 3, I guess is the thing, because like I don't know anything about it and it's going to be a weird Japanese anime ass thing and it's just like that seems weird to me.
We're talking about Final Fantasy or Persona?
Touche. Persona, I guess. I don't know. Does Persona have talking cats? I guess Final Fantasy has Kate Sith. So
5 does. Persona 3 is weird because Persona 3 has a dog that you like accompany into like the dungeons that you fight inside of, but the dog doesn't talk. Like it's not like an anthropomorphic dog, but it still has magical powers, which is weird.
I say let's just marry Final Fantasy because Chad wants to anyways.
Yeah, I want to marry Final Fantasy.
We can have sex with Persona.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Because afterward they'll put a gun to their head anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. All right, number 3. So to recap, we are killing Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered, marrying Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and fucking Persona 3 Reload. Number 3, can't play this on Xbox. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Helldivers 2.
I kind of want to fuck Helldivers.
Those Mario vs.
why do you
Donkey
wanna
Kong
fuck
games
Helldivers?
have never done anything for me. Let's kill that.
Yeah, we can kill Donkey Kong. Helldivers because it's just like a fun weekend, you know? Just fucking have fun. Great time. Never think about it again. That's Helldivers. And yeah, I don't care about Mario and Donkey Kong. We can kill that. So
I
that
also
just
don't
leaves...
care about Mario Donkey Kong, but like that's a lot of trauma to be married to for the rest of your life with The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered.
That's true. That is a tough one.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd be fine with marrying Helldivers 2, even though I don't think that game's quality is guaranteed. I'd be fine with marrying it.
Okay, let's just do that because we don't want to deal with the trauma.
I mean, we will have trauma because we fucked it. So it means like we like everyone, we have baggage and we've seen some shit.
Hey, bud, your words, not mine.
But we're getting through it. We're getting through it.
I got you.
All right,
got you.
final one. It's been a while. All of these games have had at least 7 years since their previous entry or since this game was revealed. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Skull and Bones, The Outlast Trials.
I want to marry Prince of Persia off top. I'm so excited for that game. That game looks dope as shit. I played it. It's very good. We should absolutely marry Prince of Persia.
Okay.
Outlast, and what was the other one?
Skull and Bones.
Here's the thing. That's such a joke of a game. Is it more fun to just give it to it a good old 1-2 one time, or do we just get rid of it forever?
Well, if you think we have the Outlast Trials, and like you want to put your penis in anything that's in that game,
yeah, that's a tough one. It's a lot of gross, dirty people screaming in your face.
Well, I mean, a lot of gross, dirty pirates are screaming in your face, and
but they're trying their best.
What's tough is the Outlast Trials is guaranteed to be at least decent given the pedigree of that whole franchise, but like I have no interest in playing it.
It also technically is in early access already, but we'll get a full release this year on every platform. It's not been getting like glowing reviews, but also it's early access. So
I want to fuck the pirate ship, Chad.
You know, fuck the pirate ship. Oh, that makes sense. Let's let
go
Adam
for
fuck
it.
the pirates.
Yeah, that sounds.
We're gonna ship the pirate ship.
Okay, so we're marrying Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. We are fucking Skull and Bones. We are killing Outlast Trials. So at this point, now we have to take all the marries, decide which one's the ultimate marry. All the fucks do the same thing. All the kills. So let's start with marry. Our contenders are Princess Peach Showtime, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Helldivers 2, and Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Go ahead and get Helldivers out of there. I don't want to marry that one that bad.
I feel like the only ones that we actually said I would like to marry this rather than Process of Elimination was Princess Peach Showtime and Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Both of which are royalty, Prince and
That's
Princess.
True. Here's the difference. I'm going against my own logic here. Technically, in the Prince of Persia, you're not playing the prince.
Oh shit!
I think you're one of his homies, and I think you're going to save him. But again, I'm excited for that game, so I don't know.
That may be true, Adam. I think that's an important and incredibly relevant point to bring up. But I do feel bad for Prince of Persia because upon that game's release, a bunch of people hated on that game for bullshit and shitty reasons. And so, you know what? I want to toss some extra love to Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
I'm totally down to make that the ultimate marry.
That's a black man with dreads. Let's go marry this dude.
I'm okay with that. Also because, you know, Prince of Peach Showtime's going to come out, and like if we marry it, we're going to be married to something that is at best 1080p.
Oh, it's true.
Not into that. Not into that.
Not interested. Okay.
All right. The fuck category. We are choosing between Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, Persona 3 Reload, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, and Skull and Bones.
Ooh, what's the most fun? I think
you could probably put it in a shark in both Justice League and Skull and Bones.
In both of them, yeah. I would say probably Persona's off the table just because we were just like trying to figure out where to put that one at.
Well, you might be able to put it in a shark in that too.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't think so.
Weirdly, I feel like Suicide Squad is like the one that's speaking to me the most in this category because see one game of all these games we have before us where I'm like, yeah, I'd, be in and out, see how I like it, and then I'm done.
See how I like it. Yeah, for sure.
See how I like it.
I'm fine for that.
And you have options. There are 4 different playable options too.
Yeah. Shark, Batman's there, Wonder Woman's there. You can kind of just do whatever you want.
Okay. And it's the naughty version of all of those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is our fuck for the beginning of the year. And that brings us to our kill. South Park Snow Day, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Outlast Trials. What game is our ultimate kill for the first half of the year?
I mean, I have my vote, but you guys go ahead and talk. Is it really that hard? You guys really thinking this much?
Yeah, I guess so.
I would say out of all of those games, there's only one that I'm guaranteed to never play.
Well, I mean, I'm down to Tomb Raider versus Outlast Trials for like, let's kill this.
Yeah.
I would go with Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Probably never going to play that.
Tomb Raider is the one that I would never touch. I would maybe
Okay.
play Outlast Trial with a friend. I would never play Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster.
I did not take you for a misogynist.
I'm-
That's so wild.
yeah.
Okay.
It is what it is. I hate
All
women
right,
from
so
the
the-
90s. I can't help it, guys. I'm sorry.
When a game comes back from the 90s, we all have to respond exactly as we would have in the 90s.
Yeah.
Therefore, this is okay. Got it. All right,
Where's
so
the
official
dinosaur? Show me the dinosaur.
Respawn Aim Fire. Marry Fuck Kill for the first half of 2024 is we are marrying Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, fucking Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, and killing Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered. Thanks for going down that journey. That brings us to the end of Game on Game Show, and that brings us to the end of episode 338 of Respawn.
I don't think I
Aim
changed
Fire.
that number.
330. No, I think that's right.
No, maybe you did. I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't. That's what I put as the number on the Twitch stream today. So
Let's hope it's right.
somewhere in the 330s of Respawn Aim Fire. Thank you everyone for being here and listening. Like usual, everyone has homework. School year's back in session. Coming back from winter break, and your homework is on patreon.com/respawnaimfire. You can go there. You can vote for barf games, which we will reveal in just a moment. Those are backlog accomplishment with Respawn and Friends games. We play one a month that you suggest to us based on a list we provide, and then we talk about it at the end of the month. You can, of course, play along throughout the month. You do not have to just listen to us talk about it, and we would love to hear your thoughts via email, messenger pigeon, or being on the podcast itself. For the month of January, we put up the poll. You all voted on Twitter and on Patreon. And on Twitter, you all asked for Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. But all the people who paid outvoted you, and so we are playing Signalis. Am I saying that right?
I think it's
What is it,
Signalis.
Yeah,
Signalis?
Signalis.
Well, Adam said Signalis and you said Signalis, so I'm going to say Signalis.
If
We're
this
playing
game doesn't
Signalis.
reveal how its name is pronounced, 0 out of 10.
Yeah, right? What if there's no voice acting and it's not Ashley Johnson or
Troy
Samus
Baker.
Aran, Troy Baker. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, we are playing Signalis for Barf. That is available on some number of platforms that it is on.
I know it's on-
Windows,
I think it's on
Nintendo
everything.
Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
Yeah.
Cool.
It used to be on Game
How long
Pass.
to
I
beat
think
says
you had to
about
buy
8
it.
hours.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're playing in January. And if you go to patreon.com/respawnaimfire, you can vote in our next poll coming up in a few weeks, as well as get exclusive access each month to one special episode. Usually it's a game show. For the month of January, however, everyone got a special present, and they have access to Elf Bowling video movie commentary. So you can watch along with Elf Bowling the movie, Santa Saves Christmas from Pirates, or whatever the subtitle is, and listen to us three talk through it at the same time. And it's a good old time.
It's
So,
Elf Bowling
if
the
you are-
Great, the North Pole Elf Strike or something. Something about a
That's not-
strike.
Yeah, that's right, because it's double meaning. Got it. So that's out, and that is available for all patrons, and then it'll come to everyone else on February 1st. So maybe you can do that as like a Valentine's Day thing with your lover and watch that if you don't like paying for us. If you are a patron, however, you will also get access to... I think I said everything. Cool. Rest of your homework, go do a good turn daily. It's the Boy Scout motto. No, sorry, that's the Cub Scout motto.
Eagle Scout.
Boy Scout is be prepared. And the law is Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And then there's
Yeah.
an oath. Isn't that weird that there's like a motto, an oath?
Is the podcast
And
over?
Is
it over?
Yeah, I guess so. So, if you are going to PAX East,
Oh,
we'll be
yeah.
there. Come say hi. Say what's up. We'll all be there. Maybe
Will we
doing cool
have-
things. Maybe
I was
not. We
gonna
don't know
say.
yet.
We may or may not have some surprises, or maybe not. Don't get your expectations too up in a tizzy, but also pay attention to our social feeds.
But we will be there regardless.
We will be there. We'll be there. So if you want to make a trip over to Boston and go see some cool people, including us, that's a thing that's coming. Alex, thank you so much for joining us again and running OBS at the last minute for this. People can find you starting what day again for Cooking with Cozy?
Yes, you can find me over on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive, KOZIBEARLIVE. I will be starting up season 4 of Cozy Bear's Cooking on January 24th. That's a Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. EST at the Twitch channel in question. And that particular season of Cozy Bear's Cooking will be each subsequent Wednesday, same channel, same time, 8:30 p.m. EST, 8 episodes total.
There's some kind of like joke or like catchy motto in there with like season 4 and cooking,
like seasoning for food, Cozy. You know,
there's something there. There's
salt and pepper,
there.
paprika,
salt, paprika. Who knew? If you just make a salt and a pepper thing, fuck, it makes a baby paprika shaker.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, everyone, for our show. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, here's our usual sign off. Paprika, paprika.